Hayden O'Brien is here on the podcast, straight from Canberra, the home of fireworks and legalising marijuana. How are you today?
I'm great. I don't think Canberra could really be described by those two things, but I'm great. How are you?
Good. I have a cousin, right?
You have a cousin?
Yeah. Congratulations, go
Hi.
Cooper.
Hi, Cooper's cousin.
Her name's Indy, right?
Hi, Indy.
Not currently, but she used to be a student of
ANU?
ANU, or I think it was ANU.
Let's say it's ANU.
Yep. And her Instagram journey and her timeline just changed as soon as it got to Canberra.
Right.
And her whole timeline consisted of wine and artwork.
Okay.
So in your opinion, is Canberra the pinnacle of drinking and looking at artwork?
Well, I wouldn't say Canberra is. The ANU could be, you could say. Considered that.
Yeah.
It's a fun-loving place. And
Okay.
you've seen my Instagram. You follow me.
Yep.
No, well, would you think that I've changed in that way? But
I think you're having the time of your life.
I would say that, actually. Because I think it's because everyone's away. Sorry, I'm going to get close to the mic. I can feel you getting upset.
The ASMR.
Yeah, no. No, I think it's because the majority of people wouldn't live in Canberra. They've come from other places and they're staying at ANU. So it's kind of that college, American vibe, but in an Australian context. And so, we're probably not chugging beer out of a weird little
Hose.
Yeah, because, we're not American. But I think, it's kind of the Australian version of that. We're a bit more classy. We might drink wine instead. Well, it's goon wine, but it's still it's still wine.
Yeah, okay.
I'd agree with that.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. All right, well then, I think we've gone off on a big tangent.
Bit of a tangent,
Now
yeah.
let's get back to something a little more linear.
Okay.
Hayden O'Brien,
Cooper more.
what do you want to do with your life? What is it actually? What do you want to be when you grow up?
That's a big question. Oh, okay. When I grow up, no. I don't know. I mean, I'm doing political science and international relations as my double degree. There's so many different areas in that. I think.
Hayden.
Cooper.
You can tell me about your degree, but what do you actually want to be when you grow up?
I don't know, but I definitely want to work in that kind of area. That's why I went to ANU, obviously, because it's the best place for political science and IR. There's all the embassies and government departments there. I definitely want to work in that kind of space, just because I want to help people through that.
Okay.
Yeah, but whether that comes out through like politics or like working for a politician or working as a bureaucrat or even like most like companies will hire people with that kind of degree who work and. Because, like Nestle's got to get their chocolate from some random country in, South America. They've got to have people that can negotiate with the government of Brazil and Argentina or wherever they've got their crops to, let them in and have subsidies and whatever. So there's actually a lot more than just like Parliament and the UN that people think when you first say, oh, I'm doing political science.
Yeah.
But where specifically, I don't know yet. But that's what uni's there to figure out.
When you were thinking about this journey, was there, before you went to ANU, a clear I'm going to be this. I'm going to be I'm going to be a politician. I want to go for prime minister. What was it clear?
Because Coop hides it very well. He was a drama kid. Yeah, very well. Yeah. And obviously, we did drama together for 4 years, and I think up until really the start of year 12, I still wanted to pursue acting as a pathway.
Yeah.
It was something I'd always been passionate about. I was a very dramatic kid. For everyone that knows me, still knows me, really.
Yeah.
Would you say I was a bit dramatic?
Oh, there's a lot of points in your life where I'd say, mate, you're being a little bit...
You could write a tell-all expose just on, like, Hayden O'Brien dramatic.
AKA going to the Rudy Hill RSL and someone didn't wear a tie. So someone had a hissy fit with everyone else wearing a tie.
Because I said, I thought we agreed not to wear a tie. Let's
didn't have to cry about it, but...
I did not cry!
Wow. I've got sources. Anyway,
I feel lied to, and I apologise to the viewership of these, like the slander.
Okay, continue with you.
Yes, so I didn't cry. Anyway, it's trying to piss me off. Yeah, so it was really. I'd always been interested in politics as well as like acting, and I thought, like, respectfully, I don't want to spend the rest of my life, like you see that character on Friends, like, Joey, he's always going to like, an audition or whatever. And there's that trope of like, the out of work actor. And I didn't really want to do that with my life, like personally, as much as I had that passion. So I thought I'd always been interested in like helping people and getting involved. And that kind of like merged into it with like being an actor, having a platform to make change. And I thought, well, why yes, I'm passionate about acting, but why would I do something because I might be able to have a platform to make change? Why not I go and actually make it myself?
Yeah.
And through that, I thought of something I'm interested in politics and the state of world affairs, and why not fix the damn place myself?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, during high school, there was a lot of kind of views around you as the next prime minister. Now, I know we're all joking about it, but unfortunately, that was my perception this entire time. I thought, okay, Hayden wants to become the next prime minister. Now,
Thank you.
Is that any relevance to what you want to do right now? Is that actually consistent?
Yes and no. This is going to sound like a politician answer, and I feel like...
Oh, yes, it is.
It is, but I honestly don't know if I want to get into politics, because I still... Even my first... I've just started my second semester, and obviously I'm in ANU, so you hear the people that work in these government departments, you hear stuff. I'm still at the point now where I'm like, would I run for anything? I would definitely get involved with a political party, I kind of already have started to, but whether I go ahead and actually run for something that would be an electoral position, I don't know. But I do, as soon as you say you're interested in politics or you want to go to politics, it's everyone's first response. Oh, you're going to be the prime minister. Oh, you're going to do this, la, la, la. And you laugh, and I'm like, obviously that's a million steps away from where I am right now as an 18-year-old uni student, but it's not impossible, but I'm not out here saying, oh, that's my goal aspiration. I've always wanted to be that. Because with respect, in my experience, the people at this age are saying, I'm going to be the next Prime Minister of Australia, can be, of occasion, sometimes be some annoying individuals. Yep. And I don't want to be an annoying individual. So I'll go where life takes me.
Wow, you've grown.
I've grown, yeah.
Mate, Canberra's really sorted you out.
Yeah.
Kicked you up the upside, yeah.
You should go. Might sort you out.
Oh, he really did that. You know what? That's fair.
That's fine.
I'll give you that.
I'll allow myself one dig, and
that'll be the cutoff from now.
Okay, thanks. It's been great having me. Thank you.
So now you're doing your first year at uni and all this kind of stuff, and you sound my view of you from your Instagram and all this is you're having fun, and because you're staying on campus, dormitories, and you have people with you. That is the American lifestyle that really people want. I
feel like sometimes I wake up and I'll be like, am I in an American movie? Because it's just, I suppose it's different because if I was still here, I'd be living at home. I'd be going to Macquarie or, if I did better with my actor, I'd be Sydney Uni or something. And I'd be going and I'd catch the metro in every day and I come back home and the friends I probably had at school would be the friends I'd still have here. I wouldn't probably not many people make many uni friends so far. From what I've spoken to, people are still here. Yeah. Whereas you're kind of forced to, especially because I live I live on campus, but it's a catered residence, so they cook the food for us. Yeah. So it's not like I know some people that are at non-catered residences and they come down. It's harder to make friends because they'll cook when they want to. But for us, there's a meal time, so we've got to go down and eat between X time and X time. So we've got to sit with people. We've got to be there, and you just make friends and connections by walking in. So it's as someone who's very extroverted like myself, I find it's been a really good experience because I have made so many different connections and friends of people who I wouldn't have thought to, wouldn't have ever interacted with if I hadn't have gone. So I'm actually really enjoying it, and I'm having the time of my life. I think, and I'm cherishing that. Yeah.
Just pause 1 second. Okay, so you transitioned from a life where you work at Stockland Mall Woolies. It's
Grove Square.
I know it's Stockland.
It's Stockland to me.
It's Stockland.
It will always be Stockland in my
That'll
heart.
change. A big part in the Western Sydney area, in terms of the school.
Western Sydney. I am the emulation of Western Sydney. A skinny white privileged kid is what Western Sydney's all about.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely right.
That is me. No, the hills. Let's say the hills. Let's narrow it down a little bit.
The hills, work at Woolies, all this kind of stuff. And now you moved to Canberra and started a new journey.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
I think it's good in terms of life experience, I suppose, because I'm not stuck in that bubble that I would be still in. And obviously I would be, there's experiences I'm missing out on not being here. I definitely think that I've lost in a sense of friendships just haven't continued when you live 3 hours away. You don't speak to people. Yeah. And some people just cut you off completely just because they just can't deal with not having someone there. So I feel like it's really pushed me. I am someone who likes to be extrovert. I am someone who likes to, get out there. But I do sometimes get stuck in my own comfort zone, I think. And I really feel like that was a good push. And I remember speaking to Mr. Langford, and I remember him saying, if you ever get a choice to move out of your house ASAP to go to uni, do it. Like, I could not recommend it more. And as soon as like ANU became my number one option, and I was dealing with, do I have to move to Canberra? I remembered that, and I went, you know what? I'll give it a try. And if I don't like it, I can always come home. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. And no, it's definitely given that. I think I love where I live here, but I also needed to get out to get that life experiences, because you kind of get a bit of a sheltered life when you live in the hills. You don't get the full understanding of how it is to live. Even in Sydney, is kind of, you're in the little hills bubble, everyone knows everyone. You've got to go out and make experiences. I'm just glad I could do that at 18, 19 instead of at 20, 25,
Yeah, I agree with you. That's actually a very interesting point. I'm kind of resonating with that, because I think I'm the other side where, you've moved and you've done this, and I'm on the other side where I've stayed in here, going to Macquarie, taking the metro.
Yeah. Literally, that was my other path. If I had a fork in the road, you would have taken that fork and I've taken that fork.
Absolutely right. Now, there's positives to each side, but there's also negatives to each side.
Yeah, I agree.
And the negative to your side, you said, was feel like you're missing out on the connections you've already made in the hills area.
Yeah.
In this area. And also, it's not really, it was risky. It was risky.
Oh, 100%.
Because going to Canberra, you didn't have to make friends. No one. You didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
But luckily, you were also in an environment where everyone else felt there was risk, and you were able to capitalize on that.
100%.
Whereas my situation is I'm still in the area.
Yep.
I've made a couple uni friends, but my perception was I don't want to, which is going to sound horrible to people I've met at uni. I don't want to have to give more attention to other people.
Yeah.
And that stopped me from doing this, doing other things. Like I've got a very busy life. I don't have to give my time and effort to other people.
And 100%. And like mine was kind of a forced sacrifice. But if you're gonna do that, there's only so many hours in the day.
Absolutely right.
If you want to make and have strong connections with people at uni, you're gonna have to cut something, whether it be the podcast, whether it be friendships that you've already got. There's not time for everything. And I suppose in your situation as someone who is in a relationship, you don't have that need to go out and you're like, I'm going to spread my wings. I'm going to, uni's a place to meet people, get in a relationship. You've already got that. And you've already got a good core set of friends. So you're not lacking that some people are, I guess. So there's no reward to go out, I suppose. There's only risk, I guess, for you. So I feel like that's completely valid. And that would be me in a sense. I've got friends I've had since I moved back from Melbourne. I've got friends I've had that I've carried on since I was born. Like, this is where I grew up. And apart from 3 years where I lived in another state, this has been my life. And I'd be exactly the same. Why would I need to sacrifice and cut off people to make way for new people? What's the need? But in my situation, I guess I've been forced to do that. And it's probably shown which relationships can be put on hold for being we've spoken like we did when I saw you last. Like, it's not, whereas other people I've caught up with and it's been a bit, okay, you've moved on with your life, you don't have a place for me anymore, and that's fine. Sometimes it hurts, but you just get the vibe and you're like, okay, I have also moved on. I suppose I've also got a different set of priorities, different set of friends, different support networks, and it just happens, which is sad, but I guess there's a pro and con to everything.
Do you regret moving in terms of the sacrifices you had to make? Because you moved from Woolies, you moved from the area that you grew up in, all these people. Is there any kind of regrets or anything you would have changed the way you've done it?
Well, there definitely was at the start. And speaking to a lot of people, because I go to a college where it's a lot of people from very affluent schools in Sydney or Melbourne, like Northern Beaches or the richer parts of Melbourne. And so they've got this idea of a college lifestyle. They've come for the college. Yep. They could get into, they go to schools where their ATAR doesn't matter because they're going to get a 90 based on their school selection rank or whatever, barring being, stupid. Yeah. So they chose to go to ANU because it was away from their family, away from their parents, away from their friends to make a new life. I went to ANU despite that. That was a downside. So like I miss my brother doing his finance HSC. You know, I miss my dad, you know, speaking to my dad, you know, every day when he comes home from work. And, you know, my mum doesn't work 2 days a week. Those 2 days I used to I'd, you know, go out to lunch with her, maybe I'm doing that now when I'm back. But I miss that kind of connection, especially with my immediate family.
Yeah.
And even like my close friends like Olivia and Jacinta, like I've been with them my whole life. And it was Melbourne, it was different because I was a little kid. You stay in contact with people, you don't really mess up that. But it's like everyone's having their own lives. And yeah, even the people I'm still in contact with, you're watching people from behind a glass screen on your phone. It's like, okay, like you're moving on without me. And that's kind of like the regret that you have, a little bit of head noise that you get. Every time you see someone having a fun time, you're like, oh, would I have been there? Or would it be different if I was here?
What if?
Yeah, what if? Really? It's a lot of that.
Now, unfortunately, the thing that is still prevalent with you, and you keep bringing it up, is watching life go by and wondering what would happen. Now, I know you're saying you're loving Canberra, and I'm sure you are.
Oh, I definitely am.
And you're making friends and all this kind of stuff. Does that aspect actually really matter? Or are you happy with the cards that you were given?
I think I am happy with the cards I've been given because I suppose, as you said, there's pros and cons to both choices. If I had stayed, there'd be pros. You know, I could be working like, you know, at John the 23rd. I could be still doing that tutoring thing that a lot of people do. That is something that would interest me if I was still here. Whereas, because I'm going to Canberra, which is the best place for the degree I want to do for my life, I'm making connections not only at, you know, uni with all the different lecturers and everything, people in their field that's going to get me to a place I want to go in life. But the friends I'm making are not just random friends that I'm meeting on the side of the street. They're people that are doing, you know, PPE, they're doing IR, they're doing subjects that are similar to mine, and there's connections that, you know, will take me further in life. And you never know who you meet. Yeah. Like, there's people that have gone to Macquarie and there's people that have gone to Sydney Uni, and 20 years later that, you know, their classmate is the Prime Minister or is the CEO of some company. Like, it happens. The connections you make at university or connections you don't make at university can be really influential. I think ANU is the kind of the type of university where the connections you make really stay with you for life.
Yeah.
Because people go into ANU looks very good on a resume in the type of field I want to get into.
Absolutely.
Who knows where the people I'm living with right now will end up, and I'll have that connection for life, kind of bonded by that, which you see in America with all these college people. It's kind of a replication of that, which I'm like, yes, so there's all these all these downsides of moving out of home, but I think definitely there's upsides, and yeah, I don't think it's not a bad decision that I moved away. I'm not negatively impacted by that, I think.
Why political science? I know you've talked about, you know, going there and choosing this and your job.
Yeah.
But you also talked about being an actor.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
There could have been pathways if you're going to an acting school, for example.
Yeah.
I want you to answer two questions.
Okay.
The why political
science? Yeah.
And was there a thought about doing more emphasis on the acting side?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with the politics thing. My late grandfather, he loved politics. Like that was his sport. And I remember being little, and you're laughing at me.
I love it. No, that's actually so sweet.
I went, and because my dad hates politics. My mum is kind of ambivalent to it. No one in my family likes it, but he would wake up every Sunday morning and he would watch Insiders, and he would be checking what's happening in Question Time. You know, he's a big Labor Party man. And I remember him talking to me about like stuff that like you probably remember as like stuff like Kevin Rudd's, you know, apologies. Okay, we're a bit young for that. Julia Gillard, the switch between the prime ministers, you know, and Tony Abbott coming in. I remember that. I remember being a little kid and like you'd hear it in the background of Sunrise with Mum's watching in the morning. And then I'd ask, you know, Poppy about it, and Poppy, you know, he'd light up and he'd talk. And I really remember that, and it's always something that stuck with me. And I definitely started probably after Trump got elected in 2016. That's when I think the world started paying attention to like American politics, and I got a real passion for it. And my Poppy had passed away by then, but I remember everyone, my mum, my dad, people that knew him would just say, you know, Poppy or Jim would be so proud of you right now. And so it's kind of like, it's a passion that I have from him, but it's also something I do, I suppose, to make him proud, I guess. But yeah, it's definitely, I feel, I wish he was still here so I could say, you know, look, I'm going, I'm going to uni in Canberra. Like, I'm 5 minutes away from your favourite building in the world, Parliament House. Like, I'm there. I'm getting all this insider goss. You know, I know people that work in the Prime Minister's office or work in the opposition leader's office, and I've got, you know, oh, this happened. Blah, blah. I wish he was still here that I could talk to him about a lot of gossip stuff or talk about, you know, recent events that's happened. So that's probably why political science. And in terms of acting, I suppose I remember speaking to you a bit about it last year, in the sense that we had a drama teacher that really pushed us into acting. And it was already a passion, but it was really fostered as a passion. And then with COVID, he left the school, with just everything that changed about HSC and everything, that's kind of, it happened right at the time where I was getting doubts about it. And there was nothing there to go, no, pursue this dream. I was getting tempted by something else. I was getting doubts about this dream I'd had. And combined together, it was like, why am I holding on to this when I'm starting to lose I love it. I would still do it in a heartbeat. Like, if they said, you know, I'm going to cast you in a movie, well, I can't, you know, screen actor skill, can't cross the picket line. But, but yeah, after the strike's done, if they've said, you know, you want to be the lead in a movie, I'd be like, of course, like, I would do that. But it's not something I want to spend my life. I don't have the passion to be going around to auditions every day and, you know, hoping that one day I'll get to be, you know, waiter number 2 on Home and Away, and that will spur me on to the rest of my life. Whereas this, I can see a path for myself to make a difference in a different passion.
Yeah.
I think you're kind of the same, weren't you, with like your...
Well, the thing I asked 1,000 questions on, this was always this. It was, if I were to continue with what I wanted to do with making film and go to afters, that was the biggest thing. I told everyone I want to go to afters.
You did, I remember.
And I said that, like, this is my goal.
Yep.
But can I do this and can I continue my life? Because I love, like, my basketball, I've given them every second of my life, and I love doing it. I love the podcast. Yeah. I have like a committed relationship. I have my friends. I have all this kind of stuff. And if it means, and I know this is a big sacrifice, you know, you could be the biggest director in the entire world, but if I have this group of what I enjoy, what I am passionate about, where I can hopefully be remembered, then unfortunately I'm going to take that rather than lose all that for being a director, which, you know,
it's a pipe dream, I guess.
It's a pipe dream, absolutely right.
I also would say, like, sometimes not making the choice that, like, you think is your passion is probably a harder risk than it is not, like, in pursuing it, I guess. So I really get where you're coming from, in the sense that I'm like, you know, that there's this thing that you think you've set out a path for yourself, and sometimes it's like being very mature and going, is this really what I want to do? Or do I want this, like, idea of being a director, being an actor? Or is there something else I kind of want to do, I guess?
It's tough because...
It's a very thoughtful podcast.
I know, I'm loving it. It's great. In my mind, I've always, like, you know, I want to be a director. And I really have to think about it. Like, I was like, you know, I want to be a director because I just want to make something that's just, like, people love to see. That's my goal.
Well, we used to make movies at the school. We used to love doing that.
And I had to think about, why did I enjoy that? Yeah. And the reason why I enjoyed that is because I like to see people go, I like to see people laugh. Yeah. I like to see that. But if I am going to an industry like being a director for, you know, a big movie, for example, I'm sure I'll love it and I'm sure it'll be great. But there's more things in my life that cause me happiness than just that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a very big risk. Yeah. Like, if you want to be an actor, like you said, you want both ways. You might not get both ways, but I'd rather take one side than give all my life to it and achieve nothing.
I'd even say, like, being an actor is probably easier than being a director, because, like, you know, not every actor has to be, you know, the best actor to get nominated for an Oscar or whatever, but, like, 5 directors get nominated a year for the Oscars, and they're probably the 5 best films by a long shot. Yeah. There's not normally a big... I still love pop culture. I still love acting. I watch the Oscars every year. Like, it's still a passion of mine with acting. But I suppose there's probably only 5 people that could be in that, you know, director thing that get recognized every year, and there's probably 1 million out there, and you kind of you don't want to get lost in that, I suppose.
And and here's a way of doing this. What are your favorite movies?
Oh, see, that's a really hard question for me because it depends on the day. It depends on what I feel like it's for someone that really loves film. There's no real answer to that.
I gotcha.
Like, I loved, for the latest two I watched, I loved Barbenheimer. I watched them both, within 2 days, and they were both incredibly different, but they both left me with something.
Yeah.
I like a comedy film. I like, a Jojo Rabbit was a really thoughtful film that was also a comedy movie, but I'll watch Avengers Endgame for 3 hours and I will love it. So it just really depends, I suppose. I have such a broad taste in it because I do love, and I did study, film and acting and art for 4 years. Yeah. There's such a complexity to it. I really couldn't say. If you had gun to my head, what's your favorite movie? I honestly could not answer that, if I'm being honest.
I got you.
Yeah.
I do get what you're saying because you have your movies. Like I would say to people, if everyone says, "Oh, what are your 3 favorite movies?"
Yeah.
I would say Secret Life of Walter Mitty,
Yep.
Talladega Nights, and now you got 4.
See, that's the thing. There's
That
that. Or do you mean this one? Or that movie's not as funny anymore because it's like 20 years old. So would you say something like that's a bit like more current, so people would go, "Oh, that's a great movie." Like it gets in all your head.
Absolutely right, and it's very tough to do that because absolutely, it's about the mood. It's about what the purpose of that is.
Are you talking comedy? Are you talking drama, historical? Like, what's the?
I agree with you. It's very tough. Now,
very tough.
We're gonna take a little bit of a U-turn with this because I think we're getting. I liken it, but I think
we're getting caught up.
We're getting caught up in the idea of this. So, Hayden O'Brien,
good more.
What did you want to be when you were 5 years old?
I wanted to be a dump truck driver.
No way.
I wanted to be, because I loved cars when I was little. I wanted to be like a tip truck. So the trucks that like tip it. I thought that was the best.
Yeah.
And then I got into school and I decided I was going to be an ink maker.
An ink maker?
I was going to make ink.
Talk to me about that. Why?
Well, I think it's because this is my thought. My neighbour, he used to work at, I think it was Artline, those and he would always come. Yeah. And he'd always give me like the books and the pens, and they'd always be this cool thing. And I was used to like, just drawing or writing or whatever. I used to go, that'd be so cool. He gets all this free stuff. I think that was where I got that from. I want to be an ink maker. I want to be this. And then I can't really think, I remember those because they were just 2 jokes that like, everyone would say. And I don't really know what I wanted to be in the middle, but then it was from very early on, it was acting from about year 5.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was another job in there that was probably irrelevant now. But yeah, no, it was, tip truck driver, ink maker. And then I was a very niche kid. I was.
No, well, a tip truck driver and an ink maker are quite 2 ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, they really are.
And add an actor to that. That's
I've really just
diversified.
Circled, yeah.
It was very niche jobs, but you diversified your.
But you can tell like the little kid, because I loved my little cars. Like I used to line them up and I'd play with them, whatever. And like mum and dad and like all their friends would come and they'd switch 2 around just to mess with me. And I'd go, I wouldn't even say anything. I would walk. I'd go, that's wrong. I'd fix them. Like I loved my cars. I used to name like you would be so proud of me. I would know like every like make and model of car. Oh, that was me. What happened?
I don't know. We could have had a proper conversation.
We could have. I could have been a driver. I don't drive now. Like we could have.
Okay, well,
what could have happened? What happened? What happened?
I know,
that's the real question.
That could have really changed our dynamic of the relationship. Now, where's your license? Do you drive? What's happened to that?
I've got, I mean, I can show you my learner's permit.
Okay, let's see Hayden O'Brien's learner's permit.
Is that unsafe to show my like ID and like?
Just show it to me if you want.
So it's okay. Right.
Look at that. Wow, you even got the Woolies haircut with you.
Yeah, I did. Well, I was.
Yeah, your uniform on as well.
I went straight from Woolies to get my. No, well, I mean, I always wanted to drive, but it was not really something I was really interested in at the start. And then, there's that thing that your parents always say to you. There's that one thing they say to like scare you or like snap you out of it. Like, don't do this or this will happen, Yeah, if you're being stupid while you're doing this, you'll fall and hurt yourself. Mine was always, if you're not paying attention, if you're not being safe, and you're behind the wheel of the car, you could hurt yourself or you could hurt someone else.
Yeah.
Very good advice. Very good advice. But I feel like it might have been just given to me like a year too early. It's somehow at the back of my subconscious. I have no problem being in a car with people. I feel like this is going to sound really bad. if I die in a car crash, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna morbid, but I'm the passenger.
Yeah.
I'm a victim. I'm a martyr. People will cry over my death. I'll be on 7 News. Hayden O'Brien horrifically killed in car. It's sad.
Yeah, everyone cried. Be like, we knew him.
We knew him. Like you'll do a memorial special for my death.
Oh God, yeah. Moving on.
You have to. No. There's a point here. But if I'm behind the wheel of the car and I'm the driver that's killed people, then I am
the immature one.
Yeah. And do you remember that talk we get at school?
Oh, bro.
About the lady whose son...
I cried.
Yeah. Oh, who didn't?
Yeah.
Like, that just... And I already had that fear, and that just reinforced it. And it's like, she spent 30 minutes on he's a good kid, and he probably was. He was a great kid, he was very responsible, but he made one wrong decision. And I know I would never do that. I'm scared to never... And if, I ever do end up actually driving and get my license, you best believe there won't be a drop of alcohol in my system when I get behind the wheel of a car.
That's right.
But it's just something in the back of my head. Every time I get behind the wheel, I'm like... This is not where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I do eventually want to drive because, walking and public transport's not always convenient.
Not ideal.
No.
But I want you to put this in perspective, okay? Now, I love driving, but I've made it my personality.
Yeah. You've got one of those cars.
I've got one of those cars.
You've got this is my personality car.
Unfortunately, it's become like that. And it never used to be.
No. No, it wasn't.
Until maybe year 12 where I kept going, what ute should I get?
Oh, I remember that.
I kept going,
should I get a Nissan? Should I get a this?
Should I get this? Should I get that? And everyone just got fucking annoyed with me. Sorry for the words I swear.
Wow.
But they just got annoyed at me because it was in my mind.
I feel like we were studying for something really important, like a trial. I think I remember someone going, Cooper, stop talking about cars. And you're like, sorry, miss.
I kept going on Facebook Marketplace trying to find a Land Cruiser, and then I think that the thing was Elm Sanders.
It was probably Elm Sanders.
Just yelling at me for looking. I'm like, sorry, miss.
I'm sorry. You've got an essay to write, and you're like, but I need to know what car I'm gonna have.
And unfortunately, that's become my personality.
Well, that's okay, and we still love you.
But the negative side to that is that if you make it your personality, it justifies how much money you've spent on it.
Well, 100%. You have heard all about this girl math kind of thing. It's Cooper math. If I'm driving in my car 10 times a week, then I can justify adding $3,000 worth of customizations because that's only I can't do math. That's only $30 a week if you really think about it.
That's
not true, but if you think about it,
my logic is right.
Basically, true.
I bought a car that I love, right?
Yeah.
However,
too much.
However, unfortunately, a lot of the parts need replacing because it's going through the new cycle.
Yeah.
The new decade, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, I've spent over $6,000 on parts already, and I've only had it since December.
Yeah. So that's $6,000. I've got in my bank account.
That's the positive about it.
See, I'm what I'm hearing now is I'm $6,000 ahead.
Don't even throw that in here. I don't.
No, but that's not me rubbing it in. That's me in my internal going, look at me. I now have $6,000 to spend.
Absolutely right.
It's an internal thing.
That's why if you have the car, if you make it your personality, unfortunately your bank balance goes with it.
Yeah.
Whereas Nicole, she has a car. Yeah. It's a cheap car, her grandparents' car. She probably hasn't spent $1,000 on it in her entire time owning it. You know what I mean?
But does she love the car like you love your car?
She does.
No, see, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
You've paid to love your car. I'll open Instagram and it's Cooper Moore's story and it's just a thirst trap for the car. And I'm like, there's sun shining in. I'm like, well, that's a nice car, but
come on,
Cooper. Okay, Cooper, that's too many. I keep clicking. There's 20. And I'm like,
stop. All right. Well, it's not that bad. All right, calm down. All right.
Sorry. I did say I was dramatic. I did pre-warn.
But that's the negative side. But the positive side is I get to point to A to B without...
In style.
I hate you so much.
I know you do.
Now, when are you going to get your license and when are you going to justify it?
Okay, well, the problem is Mitchell my brother, is now 16. Mm-hmm. I know.
Beat you?
Yeah, he's already lapped me.
He's lapped you?
He's got more than he's got double that I've got.
Hours?
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just going to have to wait until he's done, really, to start. But I reckon, I've got, 2-3 months at the end of the year where I don't have any uni. I guess I'll just have to. I said to my dad, the fact that you just didn't force me was my problem. If I sit there and go, maybe I'll do it next. You just have to tell me we're getting in the car and going for a drive. Don't give me an option. And eventually I'll just drive so much I won't be scared of it.
That's what I have to be. I push by Nicole.
Yeah,
my parents
weren't pushing me. You never used to drive.
I never used to drive. I didn't want to.
You didn't have your L's till year 12 or something.
I had my L's. I got my L's a year after. So I was when I was at year 10.
I got my L's start of April year 11.
I think, is that early or late or anything?
That's late because my birthday was in year 10. My birthday, 16th, was in year 10 in November.
Yeah.
I didn't get until the April the next year.
Well, I got it a year late, right? And that was a problem because...
Blame COVID.
I blame COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't want to because I was scared. I was scared. But I was pushed by Nicole's like, I need you to drive.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So I kept forcing, and then I was able to drive.
Maybe I should hire Nicole to just send me angry messages like every 2 days. Just
Yeah,
drive.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It scares you. And then when you get to a point where you pass like maybe 40 actual
Yeah,
hours,
you're like, well, I'm basically there. I've got to just keep driving. Yeah, no, that's what I need to do.
You need to get pushed.
Yeah. And obviously, like, when I was first doing it, I was in the middle of HSC. So I'm like, it's not like I'm sitting around on my phone. I mean, I probably was, but like, I'm not like sitting around on my phone doing nothing. Like, I actually do have study to do. So it's like, I have to break from my study to do something I'm petrified of.
Yeah.
Not really a good combination. Whereas Mitchell, I suppose, has a break from his study, but he wants to drive. He's got this whole goal, by year 11, he'll be driving himself to school,
That's what you... Now looking back, I would have enjoyed the experience of being able to drive to school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But now looking at it as well, it's like I wouldn't be able to afford...
No. God, no.
I can afford it now because I work 3 times as much as I used to.
Because you're not at school.
I'm not at school, but I don't know how people do it, or
No.
I don't know how much money from other venues.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
bit of mummy and daddy's money.
Absolutely right. And there's no judgment there.
No
Because,
judgment there.
I've gotten help as well. People
As
gotten
have I.
help, but it does.
It
some
does.
happen.
It's like, okay. How much is your Macca's shift really paying?
How much is
for
the
your-
3 hours a week really paying?
For your new, Hilux? Like, really?
Like
Let's be real here.
no shade.
No shame.
No shame.
Just
a
be real.
tiny bit. Just a little bit. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
Is Mitchell gonna outbest you? Is Mitchell
Oh,
gonna
100%.
outbest you?
Sorry.
Why? Talk
You've
to me
met
about
the
him.
man.
Yeah, no, but it still doesn't mean anything. Lay it on me.
Mitchell and I look very similar.
Mitchell's his brother, sorry.
Mitchell's my brother, yeah. He's just some random I know off the street. No, Mitchell and I look very similar, or different now. He's got glasses. I have glasses, but he wears them all the time. And he's, But people for a while confused the fact that because we're brothers and because we look so similar, we must be the same.
Yeah.
He looks at, like, he's doing year 12 finance right now. He's in year 10. He's about to do his HSC. Yeah, he does his HSC in, a month or so.
That's common. Is that common for some
No,
people?
finance. Oh, no. Well, you know how school now does that? You've got to do in year 9 and 10, you've got to do a HSC, like a vet subject.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We did drama.
Yeah, we did drama. So now they do 2. They do a non-vet and a vet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think it's non-vet and a vet. Yeah. So he does, he's doing finance. He's about to do his HSC for it.
Yeah.
I could not think of anything worse.
No.
I would rather gouge my eyes out than do math again, respectfully.
Respectfully.
I dislike math with a my brain doesn't just... You heard my $3,000 analogy to $30 a week. I don't do math, okay? It hurts my brain more than driving. So he is just so focused on that, and I cannot at all envisage doing that as a subject. And he is just so passionate about it, and he loves it, and and I'm just like, I'm completely the opposite. But he will get, probably ducks at the school. He will hate me saying that, but he'll be like, he'll just, I studied hard, blah, blah.
What does he want to do with his life?
Doesn't know.
Has he got any... Did he have anything a while ago? Like, if you had to describe, what's Mitch going to do? You can say, he's going to be a firefighter. Like, what was his automatic constant?
I think he wanted to be a teacher for quite a while.
Yeah.
Then he made a joke that he was going to be a stand-up comedian but have a chair, so he'd be a sit-down comedian. That would be his opening joke. And I was like...
I respect that. That's
and I was like,
hilarious.
haha, that's hilarious. And then he kept doing it, and then I was like...
It works one time.
Yeah. So now he's a bit unsure. Obviously, the finance can help him with a bunch of stuff, but it just... I was helping him the other month, with his subject selections.
Yeah.
What do I do for this? I'm like, well, obviously scaling affects this, but don't worry about this. Do what you're passionate about. Everything, like, teachers are telling him one thing, mum and dad are telling him another thing. He doesn't know, but he's got some areas that he's like, I might be interested in X, Y, Z. I'm like, well, you want to have the knowledge, and you can figure out whether you like it. So do business if you want to do business. Do geography. Do legal. Do society and culture. figure out where you want to go by doing these subjects.
Yep.
And then, when it comes to, year 11 and you're doing early entry, apply to, UNSW, USyd. Okay, you can't do early entry for that, but it doesn't matter. If you want to go there, go there. Go to UTS. And if you don't, go to Macquarie. Go to ANU. He would never go to ANU. That's where I'm going. He wants to be as far away from me as possible. But
makes sense.
True, most people do. Surprised you're not doing this like by remote. Like, I'm in the same room as you. He'll figure it out. He gets once he sets his mind on something, he'll do it. He just needs to figure out what he's setting his mind on.
How important is family to you?
Very important. Very important.
In every
aspect. And I think I didn't have a very big family in terms of extended family. Like, I've got my grandparents. My dad has one brother. My mum has a brother and a sister, but her brother lives overseas. My auntie didn't have kids until I was in year 5. My dad's brother, lives in Queensland, and we never really saw him much, and I still don't see him much. He lives in Queensland. So I think my core family of, my brother, my dad, my mum, and that's what I think of as family, but I also think of is like the family friends become family to me.
Yeah.
And that's very important to me. Like, I have like my family friends who are basically my siblings.
Yeah.
And we've grown up together, and I count them. If I had a problem, I would call, their mum is my auntie, basically. I literally call her my auntie. I would call her just as importantly as I would my own mother. So I think it's family in a sense of, if that definition of family, like the close friends and your actual immediate family, that is so important to me. I hold that above all else. Yeah. I would kill for them in that sense. Like, I would do anything because I just really,
And that decision wasn't taken lightly when you moved away from them.
Oh, 100%. It was really, really hard because I think it's also like, I moved to Melbourne when I was at the end of year 4. And again, we didn't know anyone, but I was with my brother, my dad, my mum. We got very close, and I feel like in a way that other people's families wouldn't. If I had another choice, if my family had stayed in Sydney, I could have been a brat, and I could have been hanging out with my friends and never see my family. And I just, I grunt at mum when I walk in the door, and I speak to dad once a week, like I know many people do. But I got that closeness with them living for 3 years, and it was just us. Our family was, 7-10 hours away. Our family friends that we'd made were 7-10 hours away. So it was harder to leave them because I'd never done that before. Yeah. But it was not easier. It was still hard, but I knew how to, and obviously technology is so good, I knew how to move away from even my grandparents, who I love and I miss very much. I'm like, I can WhatsApp them. I can call them, once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Even my family friends, I know I can text them, snap them, whatever. I know how to do that. Now I know that it's not just because you move 3 hours away, you're not gone, you're not dead. Thankfully I have that experience, but it was still, doing it again was not something I really wanted to do. Or something I took lightly. Yeah. Yeah.
What makes you happy?
What makes me? This reminds me of your old.
Oh, don't bring that up.
He'll cut this out.
What makes you happy?
My friends, definitely. I'm very, definitely being with people. I don't there's time to be alone, obviously. There's times where you just want to, just sit in your room and just scroll through TikTok or read a book and just not hear anyone else. But being with my friends and family, with my dog, with my birds, that's what makes me feel happy, is helping others, being with others, talking to people. Which is why I guess I love being at college, is that, just because, on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, my mum would be gone, my dad would be gone, Mitch would be at school. I'd be sitting at home alone, just waiting for someone to come and talk to me, unless I went and made plans with my friends. Whereas, I walk out my door, I go to the dino, or the dining hall. There's someone there, someone to talk to, and I love talking. Like, honestly, you know me. That's what really makes me happy, is being with people.
And without that?
Without that, there's a certain amount of time you can spend alone. And sometimes, everyone wants alone time. I'm not sitting there like I need to be with people 24/7. But when you spend too much time alone, you get. I'm a big overthinker, and I'm like, oh, okay. And just the thoughts in your head, just like, you're thinking too much. And just, you get caught up in yourself and your own, shit. It's not an escape from myself, like but it's an escape from, I don't like loneliness. I don't like being alone, silence. I hate awkward silences. I will always speak through an awkward silence. I guess it's something I just have never, I've had such a close-knit family and friends that it's not something that makes me happy, is being alone and being silent. It's unsettling to me. Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to give advice to people who are deciding if they want to make that big choice to move away from everything that they know?
I think you've got to listen to yourself in terms of, because it was a great choice for me, but where are you moving to? Are you moving out of home and moving, 30 minutes down the road? Are you just moving to an apartment with a friend? Or are you moving into a different state, a different country? I think it's all about, you've got to be your own worst critic and your own biggest supporter. And I think you've really got to internalize, this is completely opposite of what I've said about, I like to be with people, but as much as other people can give you advice and support, whether you're at home or whether you've moved out, you've really got to know yourself. And if you listen to yourself and you're like, I'm not ready, but is that just, everyone has that thought, but is that just you being scared, or is that you actually not being ready? My biggest advice to anyone with that sort of thing is know yourself, because you're the only one that's with you 24/7. No one person, or not any person can know everything about you. Only you can know everything about you. Yeah. So if you're really not ready, you'll know you're not ready. Yeah. But if you're ready, don't not do something because it's hard or it's scary. If I didn't move to Canberra because it was hard or scary, would I really be happy going to Macquarie? Because Macquarie didn't have the degree that I wanted to. It doesn't have political science. There's an IR degree, but there's no poli-sci. Would I be happy sitting at Macquarie doing half a degree that I really want to do? Or should I, even though I don't want to lose my family and my friends, maybe I should go and make that leap of faith? And I did, and that worked out for me. But I knew in myself that I could do it. But yeah, that's my advice.
Well, thank you very much for joining More Talk today.
I'm honoured, really.
Is there anyone you want to shout out, your Canberra friends, your family, anyone you just want to say hello to?
God, that's interesting. Well, I don't know who'd be watching this. I want to shout out to Cooper Moore, because he's an amazing.
Next one. Moving on.
It was really. God, I was gonna be a real arsehole there. Who do I want to shout out to? I'll shout out to my family. I love them. I miss them. I'm glad that, even though I'm here for an hour, but I was glad that I can be back in Sydney and be with them. I love them.
It's fun.
Yeah. Anyone else that I know that's watching, hello.
Well, thank you very much for watching on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you very much for listening on Spotify, and catch you all later.